What's going on, guys? This is Guala Beats. So I'm working on some loops right now, so I figured I'd do a Electra X sound design tutorial. So basically just getting in the basics of just like creating some sounds on Electra X, what my process is, going about it. So I have these chords already that I was kind of playing with already. Just some basic chords, nothing too crazy. Opening up Electra X. I really like Electra X just because of how easy it is to design your own sounds. I feel like it's probably the easiest. You don't have to go through like a million sounds like Omnisphere, and you can kind of, it makes everything very visual. Like you could see the envelope, you could see the different waveforms, the filters and all that. All right, so I have this, I have these chords, right? And let me play them for you. I was playing through sounds. I like this art, and I don't really like the sound. Like I like the art, if you know what I mean. Like I like the way it plays the notes, but I don't really like the sound. So what I'll do a lot of times when I'm making sounds is I'll find something that I like out of like another sound. So in this case, it's like this art. So like I like the way the art moves. So I like changing about like other things to kind of make it my own. So the biggest things that I change are the waveform, which this one has these on right now, and then the two effects. Like this is the insert effect for these waves, and then this is like the master effect for like everything. So I'm gonna play around with this because I like the way this goes up. So I just want to change the sound to something that's more like atmospheric. So let me play with it a little bit. I like soloing out different sounds kind of like this, just so you can kind of hear like what you're adding to this. So you already have like the main sound right here, so I want to add like a little bit more just to get it a little more layered. And it's really just playing around with knobs until you think something sounds cool. But it's just knowing what these knobs do that can kind of help you out a lot. So I think this sounds way better already. It's an ARP. I kind of like my ARPs being in the background. I don't have too many songs where my ARP is like the main sound. So this is what it sounds like. I think that way it sounds way better as like an atmospheric kind of sound. So if you're on a Mac, you go to MacBook, Macintosh HD. This is like the default spot that it's going to put it in, your Electra sounds. So audio, plugins, Electra sounds. And I'm working on a new Electra Bank that I'm going to give you guys for free. Saturation. I'll just call it pedals. So we have this. New art. Sounds pretty cool. Taking a sound that you like and then just making it your own. So I like this art. I like the envelope. I didn't like the waveforms. Didn't like the master effect too much. So I just changed those up. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to run through A bunch of little things that I like to have in my sounds, like a bunch of effects that I like to have. This is the insert effect. It's going to affect everything that's in this little box. You can have like 4 of these boxes if you really want to get crazy layering, but I usually just stick with 1 or 2. So on it right now is multi-tap. It's basically like a delay. It's kind of like a strong, fast delay. So if we take this off, like it sounds all right, but since this is like an ARP and we kind of want it to be like spacey, see how it's like, it'll keep the bounce going a little bit, and it'll sound spacey just because it's like a quick delay. I like that one a lot. Ping pong's a really popular one. Kind of does the same thing, but you get the sound going in both of your ears. Electra has a lot of really cool reverbs. I like reverb real a lot for just like a normal reverb. Just because I like the way it sounds. I think it's really cool. And reverb plate if I want like a big, very spacey reverb. So this is what it sounds like. So if I want the sound to be really drowned out, reverb plate's a great one. Just going through your sounds and trying to pick apart what like makes the sound good is kind of how I was able to figure this out. Like a lot of the sounds I liked used either reverb real or reverb plate on them, and I'm like, oh, all right. So when I'm making a sound, maybe changing that to reverb real is something I should do. I'm going to make another sound, and then we can go back into explaining some of what I'm doing. I'm going to start with like one of my own pads. And I want to kind of change this to something else just to have like another pad. When you're making sounds, the thing that makes a sound is this envelope right here. Like what separates it from a pad, what makes it a pluck, what makes it a ARP or key. So what a pad's going to be, this is the attack. This is basically how fast it's going to come in as I raise the attack. It's going to turn it into a pad, so you can kind of just play with this. When I'm making pads or like spacey sounds like that, I like to layer my sounds and then feel it out, so like right about there sounds good with it. And that's also a good way if you're making an Electra Bank to kind of make sure that all your sounds go well together, is just playing them together. So that's the attack. Decay's next, basically. So you have the attack is how fast it comes in. Decay is going to be like how fast it goes to the sustain. So imagine you're playing a guitar and you pluck the string. Like as soon as you pluck it, that's going to be loud. It's going to be like bing, and then it's going to ring a little bit. So it's going to get bing. So the decay is how fast it goes from as soon as you pluck it, that pluck, to ring, like ring. So the pluck is going to be like loud, and then it's going to mellow out at like the ring. And the decay is basically how long it takes to get there. If you're making like a key, for instance, you're going to want like a little bit of a delay and then a lower sustain. Sustain's like what volume the ring is going to be at. So if you're playing a key like a piano, it's going to be like ding. It's going to be loud right away. It's going to decay a little bit. And then whatever the sustain's at is what it's going to hold the note at. So if you're making a key, this might be what you want the envelope to look like. So we'll hear how this sounds. Let me choose like a key I use a lot so you can see it better. So the attack's a little lower on this one. And then you see the decay's higher, and then the sustain's a little lower. This is a good key. So that's basically what you want the key envelope to look like. And then if you're doing a pluck, think about what a pluck would look like. So the attack's really fast because you're plucking it immediately, and the sustain to be low. Let me play a pluck that I got. So attack real quick, decay, you want to be a little higher. No sustain. Oops, this is what it looks like actually. So you want it to play out. Just hear it out. So like, I like it playing to where it's fast enough, so like right about there. You want the sustain to be nothing, because you don't want the notes to hold. You just want them to pluck. So like this is what it would sound like if it was a key. It would pluck and it would get plucked, so you keep the sustain low. And then release is basically when you let go of the note, how does it keep holding on to it? How long from when you release your keys from the piano does it still play? So it's kind of like reverb. So you can play with this and play with the reverb a little bit depending on how long you want the note to keep playing. So yeah, that's basically the envelope explained. So, and then if you want an ARP, you could basically use an ARP with anything. You can just turn on the arpeggiator here and it'll do a bunch of cool stuff. I usually have the best luck with finding an ARP first that I like. and then changing the sound based on that. But you can also like go in and try to make your own arps too. I've had a little success with that. Last is like leads. Leads are kind of like high sustain. You want them to hit right away. High sustain because you just want to hold the notes because it's a lead, and then that's it. How I made this this Dr. Dre lead out of the VIBIN beat. Took like a sound out of one of my other kits, and then I just added this thing called vibrato, which is another one I like adding a lot. So this is what it sounds like without it. So it's like whatever. When you're playing with leads, I love adding vibrato. It just makes it sound way cooler. It'll just make it like quiver like that. And then I like adding ping pong to it because I really like Electra's ping pong. I think it's really cool. It pans it to both ears with the BPM. Sounds really cool. Chorus is really cool. So chorus will like kind of like widen the sound. Let's pull up a key actually. So it's a key I made, and then you add quarters to it. It'll kind of like widen it up. Chorus white's pretty cool. They just added this. So you can't hear it too much on this sound, but it sounds cool. And I'm just gonna make some more sounds. So these are built-in pads. I'm gonna play around until I find something I like, and then switch it up from there. Alright, so I like this sound. I'm going to show you kind of what I did. So I added the ping pong, added a vibrato. I thought that sounded really cool. Kind of kept the envelope. I thought it was holding the release a little long, so I lowered that a bit. And then just played around with some of the waveforms till I found something I like. And Electra also has this built-in filter, basically. So let me just show you what it does real quick. So let's say you have a low pass. A lot of them have low passes. It'll just give you like all the lower of the lower part of the sound. Cut out all the highs like that. Rezo, basically it'll take like the high end of it and so like right here, whatever the highest part before it starts fading out, and just make it louder. So if you're layering sounds, Rezo can be really good. So like let's say you're doing like this, playing with the Rezo and the cutoff. help you. So like this ARP stays on like a little bit more of the higher end, like around here. You can kind of hear it. And then this one stays more like in the lower end. So like these two layer really well because you kind of hear it out. And like let's say I raise this up. They're kind of clashing, but if I do this, they kind of take up their own space, you know, and then they sound well together. I'm not too sure what key does. Envelope is basically like as soon as a note plays, it'll like raise it. So if you have like a key or like a pluck, this can be pretty cool. Just to give you that little extra oomph so that you can hear the sound when you're playing it a bunch. So I'm layering this, so it might not affect this one, but if I have a key or something and it's the only sound I'm doing. And then like duck back off into the distance. So it's cool, like you can just hear it real quick and then goes off. And then I'm not really sure what drive does either actually. And then pan, you can pan it to both sides. Another thing I like doing when I'm making sounds is I like actually having just some basic drums going in the background. Just so you can kind of hear what it's going to sound like with drums, because you can make everything sound good without drums, but obviously everyone's going to be putting drums to these sounds. So using pretty popular sounds like spins 808, like basic claps, basic kicks, it's going to help a lot because if these sounds work well with like these basic sounds that everyone's going to have, like everyone's going to enjoy using them. So it sounds really good. This might be a little too much low end, so I'm going to put that band pass back on it. So band pass is nice because it won't keep much of that low end. It'll make it sound less muddy. I like reducing the lows on a lot of my beats too because you're gonna EQ the lows out of the beat usually anyway. So just doing them in here just makes your life a little bit easier. Two cool sounds. Let's try to make a pluck, and then I think that'll be it for the video. So we can save this sound real quick too. Save patch as. You can make your own folder in this Electra X sounds, and I think it'll show up automatically in Electra. Motocross. All right. Let me just tune these 808s real quick. Play this a lot just because I'm going to be hearing it. So again, I like having a pad or like an ARP playing in the background when I'm making a pluck, or just having some sounds going while you're making other sounds, because you want everything to layer over each other, because that sounds really cool if someone like buys your bank and then like everything sounds good together already. I think that's one of the coolest stuff. Like I'll only use my bank a lot of the time, like my couple Electra banks, because I'm so used to like everything sounding good together. So all these different waves will give you like a different kind of wave. And then like, for example, this is whatever, this is a sine saw wave, and then messing with this is going to mess with the sine saw wave. And then there's these like WT waves 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 at the end. And what these are going to do is these are going to give you a completely different wave for each. So just keep that in mind. So any of these is basically the same wave. You're just messing with the pitch width, phase width, or something. I forget what that stands for. But you're just messing with this, but it's still the same wave. But any of these down here, it's like a completely different wave. So you can like kind of go slow with it, and it's going to be something completely different for each one. So yeah, that's basically how I make sounds. Yeah, so just keep doing that a ton of times. Like I can save this one now. I'm gonna save this one as I'm deciding. Why not? And then keep going through them. Just keep playing with your sounds all the time. And like let's say like this, like quick save, patch. If you like change something and you just want to overwrite it, play with them. Play all your sounds together. Keep making new sounds, and then you have an entire kit, and that's basically how you do it. So. Yeah, let me know what you guys think of the sound design tutorial. Let me know what other tutorials you guys want to see. Peace out, guys.